and welcome to In the Cool of the Day and today's segment of People Connecting People. I'm your host, Ruth Pegeron. I have a special show for you today. After seeing the debilitating effects of COVID-19 sweeping through buildings and facilities, my guest saw a necessity for quality janitorial services. She took a leap of faith after a career as an automotive engineer and established her own business to meet this need. She offered a specialty called Extreme Declutter, which assists seniors and hoarding victims in returning to healthier living conditions. She started to facilitate workshops to start an open dialogue and encourage others to seek help with hoarding. She has an MS degree in environmental engineering and a BS in mechanical engineering. So please welcome President of Southern Belle Cleaners, Miss Head. I just am so excited to be in your company again. So I've met you on another occasion. So I'm just honored. Can't you tell our guests a little bit of just about you as a person?
Okay.
Just a little bit about you as a person.
So I'm a Southern girl.
Yep.
As everybody can hear as soon as I start talking. So I'm a Nashville native, and I spent pretty much all my years growing up. I was born in Atlanta, moved to North Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, Alabama, but I'm a real Southern girl. And so I've recently moved to Maryland, and so I'm a Marylander now, and so I'm really jumping in and I started the business, and so it's really helped me to meet a lot of very interesting people that in my little engineering job would have never had me interacting with. So it's really been good.
Really? So how the transition overall from, I guess they call this the North. It really isn't the North, and up North they call it the South. I'm not sure what we are here. But I know we're not Southern.
That is true.
In comparison to Nashville and Atlanta and the Carolinas that you named. So what has been the I guess people always want to hear the most challenging thing, but I want to just hear a little bit about what has been the most successful, inspiring thing about your transition to the North.
So, like I said, I came from Nashville to Maryland, and for me, I think it's not really as much just changing geographics, it's just changing industries. So going from engineering where I was in a silo as an engineer, and but then when I was a production manager, I was, interacting with people, but just this job has been very rewarding, just meeting a lot of people, making a lot of connections, and just, never knowing where a small conversation with Aaron introducing me to you, that it's been so interesting just seeing how relationships build. So that's really the biggest thing. But I guess like geographically, people eat crabs here and I don't.
Right.
Some of the food things have been interesting.
That's for sure.
It's not a lot of. It hasn't been a major change from Nashville to Maryland, but it's more the industry has really been interesting.
So I guess with all that positive energy you just gave in that answer, you like it?
Yes. It's been. I tell people all the time that I mean, it's so many people in this area, so many different possibilities. And so, whereas if I had stayed in Nashville is, I think it's like in the top 20 largest cities in the country, but it's just, I can work with Alexandria, Prince George's, DC, Baltimore. It's just so many different opportunities in this area for growth. And so I think that's really been the thing that's really just driven me to just stay here and really just grow.
Wow. So you found a nice place to be. Which is nice. Which is good. And you're not looking to run back.
No. I mean, there's so many opportunities here, so I cannot complain at all.
Good. Well, we're glad you're here. Yes.
Thank you.
So share about your business services specifically.
So we're Southern Belle Cleaners, and so a lot of people are like, "Oh, I thought you were dry cleaners," but we're actual physical cleaners. And so just a little little bit about us, we started with commercial janitorial. We do a lot of churches, office buildings, as well as we do property turnover cleaning for realtors and post-construction cleaning. So we've done a few banks and post-construction cleaning. But our true passion and what we really would like to in 2025 go 100% is extreme decluttering.
Wow.
And that's where we are really my focus. But I mean, we're open to everybody, but I really have a passion for solo agers. And so that's really how I even got on this whole journey. Is one woman just changed the whole trajectory of my life. And so she had no children. I have no children. She's never been married. I've never been married. She moved here from Florida by herself. I moved here from Tennessee by myself. And so I really, as I talked to her and evaluated the situation, I really saw that a lot of people, they don't have that community, and they're kind of forgotten, especially during COVID, so people weren't reaching out to people. And so that's what our true passion is. So a lot of, probably about 75% of our extreme decluttering are solo agers, or either they have children that are not in the area. And so we're just really trying to help them get back into a better shape where, now they can have maybe home health aid, kind of maintain what we started. But that's really our main passion, is our extreme decluttering services.
Okay, so a solo ager, can you give our audience a definition of a solo ager?
So a solo ager, it can look like so many different things. So, some people say, somebody who doesn't have a spouse, who doesn't have children, but even sometimes those who have children, their children aren't in the area, or they have some kind of estrangement. And so, and sometimes, you can sit here and say, oh, if you don't have children, some people have nieces and nephews that take better care of them than actual children. So that's the reason why the definition is very fluid. But for us, it is someone who is Asian in their home, and they do not have the direct connections of support that the nucleus, the modern nucleus of a husband, a wife, and children, they don't have that in their home. So those are the solo agers.
Okay. And I think you're right. This is a great area for that, because so many people come here for careers, a lot, with the federal government being here, and they often do come solo, if you will, and then they like it and they get comfortable. And I also find that what you do, it sounds like it's a very, you mentioned the word community, and when it comes to your home and having that cluttering issue as one of your challenges as a person, I would think it's a very private event. Yes. And so that's the reason why we're very empathetic. And actually, the company started as elite cleaners. And so I was looking for power words like, elite, prestige, those kind of words. And that's what everybody does. That's what everybody does. And so after we started getting feedback from our social workers, as well as our actual clients, we started realizing people were like, I was very overwhelmed, but now I'm calmed down, and so y'all were very welcoming. And so so for us, we're trying to give you an experience, not as much, this is what needs to be done, so one of our... make things shine when you walk away, everything is shining,
So one of our clients, he just went up for inspection with the city, and he just passed. He texted me Tuesday, but as we started the process, he was, very on edge, and as we came in, we built rapport with them, and we realized that this was not going to just be one session. We realized that we had to kind of take our process out of the way, and we had to kind of go at his pace. So, when we go in, we want to go in, spend 5-6 hours, and then come out. But we quickly evaluated that that's not what he needed. And so I told him, hey, we could go at your pace. This is your process. You're leading it. And so we had to break it down into 4 sessions. And like I said, it was like we had to be very empathetic because he was in his career, he had a lot of leadership. And so he felt very vulnerable in his space. He doesn't have a lot of people in his space. And so, and then this was a whole overwhelming process for him, you know, facing eviction, facing the inspection. So it is so whenever we onboard, that's one thing that we really try to make sure that all of our cleaners understand is that this is not just, you know, Molly Maid or Maid Pros where you're just getting in the car, you're going to somebody's house, you're going to be done in 2.5 hours. This is more, you know, we're changing people's lives.
Right.
And so that's what we really try when we're onboarding cleaners, for them to understand.
And then the other people would, after you get it, maybe like Molly Maid or those kind of people would come in and help them keep it maintained.
And we actually do offer a sustain package. So if you come through our decluttering,
that was
we
gonna
don't.
Be one of my questions.
So we don't offer reoccurring cleaning on a as a service that we market. But if you come through declutter, then we will, because we've already built rapport. We already
relationship.
We already know how you are. We already, you know, and we can also kind of be that firm hand sometimes, whereas when the person's like, oh, well, I need to skip. No,
skipping.
We know we don't need to. You know, we might need to go a day or two, but we're not skipping months. We're not skipping weeks. We're staying true to this process. And so we can kind of be a little bit firmer because we know, you know, we can be transparent on where we've come from, you know, and so we only do that if you come through decluttering.
Okay, well, wonderful. So what is one of your biggest challenges when you encounter a client like that? Is it their process and letting your process take a back seat, or is it the first?
It's kind of most of the time, once we've built rapport, their team, okay, what do we need to do?
Okay.
But as you're building that rapport, they're like, this needs to go here. You can't move this. And like I said, so our client that just went past the inspection, you know, this is high level documents. This is this. And so, you know, I gave him assignments. And I said, let's regroup on Zoom. So we went through the assignments. We regrouped on Zoom the next day. So we're very flexible. So it is their process, but at the same time, we understand what needs to go ahead and get pushed through. You know, and so you know, we had a conversation. I told him we have 100% inspections pass rate. So I said,
we're not going to change that with you. We're staying the course here. 100%.
I told him, I was like, you know, just like you want to pass, I want to pass. So I said, this isn't just okay, if this doesn't work out, I've gotten my money. No, this is even, you know, this is just as serious to me as you are. So we can sit here and we can be flexible, but at the same time, I need for you to make sure that you're committed because I'm committed.
Yes, right. Awesome. Wow, what a great segment into the break. So it is time for a short break. We will return after these messages.
Trying to straighten your teeth yourself can cause serious damage and tooth loss. Moving teeth is a healthcare procedure that needs the supervision of an orthodontist. These are experts in moving teeth and aligning jaws. For more, visit mylifemysmile.org.
Welcome back. You are watching In the Cool of the Day, and today's segment of People Connecting People with my special guest, Emmeline Head, president of Southern Belle Cleaners. Prior to the break, we were discussing about the largest challenge that you may have in meeting a client, so thank you for that. Now I want to ask you about your career, not necessarily from a challenge, but and I know you said that the extreme decluttering came from the lady that was similar to you.
Yes.
So I want to kind of know what made the pivot from engineering, not only to just janitorial, which is fine, but to entrepreneurship. So I kind of want to hear, you know, I know that's probably a longer answer, but if you can nutshell it, because it is important for me to.
Yeah.
And our audience probably wants to know that
so
too.
I mean, I always go in saying I'm an engineer turned entrepreneur, and so I worked for a large automotive company for 8 years. Great company. I enjoyed it. I was in production manager, quality, process engineering. I mean, I truly enjoyed it, and actually the management skills is the one transferable skill that I was able to take into entrepreneurial, but
and production.
Everything
is logistics.
Exactly.
Everything
100%.
is logistics.
And so a lot of people in our area, with us having automotive, we understand that, you know, it kind of goes through highs and lows. And so even before COVID, we were beginning to do a little bit of, you know, laying off and getting a little bit tighter. And so I had the opportunity here in Maryland. And so I jumped at the opportunity, and it was a huge pivot, because not only I was leaving a company that I loved, and I thought I was going to retire from, but I left my mother, my father, everybody was in Tennessee to move here, and I only knew 3 people, and one of them left 6 months after I got here. But so I got here, I had changed industries, and that industry really wasn't a good fit for me. But it made me really start thinking out the box. And so I started looking at franchises. I saw COVID cleaning. And so it did bring about a lot of, good transitions for me. Because if I had stayed at my old company, I would have never thought of starting my own business. And so I looked at a lot of franchises. And one of my friends was like, do it yourself. Do it your way. And I was like, I don't know about this. I mean, I took math 461, differential equations. Like, I'm more engineering. And so I was like, I don't know how, I never took sales and marketing. I didn't take one business class. And he was like, I know you. He's like, you can do this. And so.
But I think that was great advice. Do it your way. You know what I mean?
And he was right, because if I had met her, the woman who changed my whole trajectory, if I had met her while I was in the franchise, I couldn't have pivoted.
You couldn't have pivoted, no.
So it's these are your zip codes. This is what these are your services.
You have boundaries.
And so doing it my way, we are able to be more like leaning into what our passion is. So even when I was at Nissan, I had the passion of helping technicians. So we created a whole leadership program while I was at Nissan. And so I've always been a person where even if I'm getting a check, I have to find a passion. And so this was just like the perfect outlet for me. So that's really how I transitioned. Is just, COVID had happened. I saw the COVID cleaning, and I just said, hey, I sold my house. This is the one time that, I can bet on myself. And so I jumped out there, and I haven't looked back.
That's wonderful. That's a great story. Thank you for sharing.
Because
I always say I would like to hear people's story, because they either usually have a co-founder, of a death experience. A lot of times sparks people into what they do best. The other thing is a bad boss, which is another kind of a death experience. When you have a bad boss or a company closing. So those are really 3 things that I always find as a common denominator in getting people to go. So the story is always good, and you're totally right. And I hope you always keep in your story that although that wasn't the right fit for you, it also helped you. And it does.
It did. Because like I said, if I was sitting in my old position, I would have been like, no, it's no way. I want to check every month. But that was like the one time where I was like, nobody's going to appreciate you but yourself.
Yep. So that's awesome. So let's go back to what you do, and just tell our audience and myself, what defines a hoarder, if you will?
So actually, hoarding, it's actual like diagnosis now, and so I don't know if a lot of people even know that, people are so quick to say, oh, my grandmother's a hoarder, oh, my aunt's a hoarder. And so people throw it out, but I mean, I've been reading more on it and taking more classes on it, but it can start as young as 16.
Oh, wow.
But what happens is a lot of times you have people in your life that are kind of helping you manage manage it.
Okay.
So, you have a mother who's throwing things out, or you have a spouse that's, throwing it out. And so it's more managed by other people. And but for a lot of ours, I will say that a lot of our clients are already working with social services and already working with people for their mental health concerns. So we're most definitely not diagnosing anybody, but interacting with our clients, maybe 80% of them is depression.
Okay.
So we've had maybe like 20% where it's like, do not take this, or this is like, it is a massive no. I do not want you to take this away. But about 80% of it, as soon as we get in there and we start, removing items, they'll get up and start removing items with us.
With us, okay.
And it's a lot of it. And so like when people come up to me and they're like, "Oh, my grandmother's a hoarder," and I'm like, so is it that your grandmother's been in the same house for 30 years?
Yes.
Is it that your grandmother has mobility issues and she can't clean? Is it that you all have been moving in and out of her house, and so half of that stuff maybe might not even be her items?
Right. Yes.
So, that's what I've really realized, that we're quick to say somebody is a hoarder. And even we've been into homes where it's absolute stuff everywhere, but once you start moving the items, they don't care at all.
Right.
And
do you go into homes where it might just be a part of the home that is defined as hoarded, but the other part is not? Okay.
And that's one thing. And like you said in the introduction, so that's the reason why we're going out and we're speaking to open up the dialogue, because a lot of times one thing that I like to really tell people is that if you have parents, go past that living room.
Right.
So we had a daughter that, it was probably the most moving experience I've had. And so she's kind of like what I said, her father in essence is not solo aging because he does have children, but she lives in South Carolina. So she'll just drive up and she'll take him out for his birthday. He'll come outside, get in the car. She takes him out to eat. He comes back, and then she drives back to South Carolina. So that's
probably the way he wants it.
Yeah. And so that process was going on for like years. And so long story short, he had a health issue in his home, and so the ambulance came, EMTs got him, and his body was covered with bed bugs. They saw the living condition, and when the apartment complex sent her the picture, she was crying.
Aww.
And she was just like, I didn't even know.
Right.
And that's the reason why I tell people, like, even if she was visiting, his living room, like if he opened up the door,
it could be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's the reason why a lot of times I tell people, when you're visiting your family, go into the bathroom, go into the kitchen and peek around, because it is a lot of homes where they'll maintain the living room, and then the bedroom, you'll have literally, only a walkway, or the basement is completely full of things that are mildew.
Right.
And so, but it's a lot of people who present and mask very well. And like I said, like
you're there to help them as well. Wow. So what is S5 Japanese organization? Matthew, tell me a little bit about that, and how does it help with strategic planning?
So that's another transferable skills for manufacturing. So anybody who's worked in manufacturing, so it's 5S, it's a Japanese methodology.
Okay.
And so it's not just automotive, but pretty much every manufacturing process. And so it is just a way to maintain your workspace.
Oh.
And so we live by it at my automotive plant. And so when I got into these homes, I really realized, so it's sort, set in order, shine, sustain, and standardize.
Okay.
And so what I really realized is that those are the keys when we're in each of these homes. And so like we start with the sort, and we, even sometimes we'll even give them activities to do before we even get there. So they can take a little bit of ownership.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and so we'll tell them like, here goes
so what's the next one?
Your stickies. So we'll still tell them to sort it out. We'll tell them to sort trash, donation, and keep.
Got it. Okay.
And so they'll sort through, and then next is set in order. So set in order is basically just everything has a home location.
Yep. Okay.
And so now we're identifying like, well, why do we have toilet tissue on the kitchen cabinet?
Let's put that in the bathroom.
Like, making sure that we have areas where these are defined areas. And a lot of home organizers, which I thought that's what I was when I first started, they do a lot of labeling and everything. But
and what's the next one? I'm sorry.
So then the next one is shine.
Okay.
Which is just cleaning.
Which cleaning. Okay.
And then the next one is sustain. And so that's where we come in and we'll do the packages with them. And then the last one is standardized. So that's when we are more sitting down and evaluating like what works best for you. Because what works for me might not work for you.
Let's make it your standard.
Yeah, and like what is like you've done this for a month. This is how it is. We've come back in. We see that this is, we're still struggling with the dishes. Like, what do we need to do as far as the dishes? Do we need to sit here and do we need to start using the dishwasher? Do we need to, what do we need to do so it can work for you? So that's kind of what we do. So that was like another transferable skill that I was able to
that's
take.
Wonderful.
Is the 5S. So when we go out to senior centers, we break it down to 4 S's, and so we take off the standardized, and sometimes we'll add safety because
that's a big one.
Because what we realize is that a lot of our clients are identified because of the clutter, and they're having falls, they're having unsafe. They can't get to, and like I tell them all the time, can you even get to your fire extinguisher?
Right. Awesome. That is wonderful. So it sounds like you have relationships with a lot of different people. I've heard you mention social workers and different apartment complexes, and I'm sure that means like social service agencies with governments, local governments, and those kind of things. How about any company vendors? So everybody kind of.
And I mean, and even how I connected with you. So a lot of funeral homes, hospices, a lot of people, because what we realized after we did some homes of somebody who passed, we realized that everything's a memory.
Right.
So we wanted to get in there beforehand. So that's the reason why we tried to offer our services, hospices.
Right.
And so before you even start the grieving, while the person is still maybe sick, let us come in and
help them while they can still be a part of it. Man, this has been awesome talking to you, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I know you're not going to be able to answer this at this time. We're running out of time, but I do know there's a lot of great things going to happen for Southern Belle Cleaners, and you're just starting.
Yes.
You're well on your way. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And thank you again for your time. Well, it's that time again. If you have any questions about today's segment, please see the information scrolling below. You have been watching In the Cool of the Day and today's segment of People Connecting People. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye.